Welcome back to the James Allen Group Educated Home Buyer Series. Today we're going to get to the next step of buying a home. We're going to talk about the process. Now the actual process of buying a home is pretty straightforward. I have broken it down into about four individual steps. And the first one is that I bring the client in, the buyer in, and we sit down and we do a buyer consultation. Buyer consultation gives me an opportunity to explain to the buyers exactly what they're getting involved with, what the circumstances are of buying a home, what the criteria are, and it gives me also the opportunity to ask them what they need, what they're looking for. We sit down, we also talk about credit issues. If there's anything that's on your credit or you have questions about your credit, that's the time for us to talk about those things. If you do not have a mortgage lender, then I will refer you to one of 3 or 4 that I work with. That way they can pull your credit, they can look at your income, which is very important because that will give them an opportunity to give you a pre-approval. And with a pre-approval letter, then anything that we do as far as making an offer on a home is a much stronger offer than just a pre-qualification letter. A pre-qualification letter does not look at credit. It just looks at your income to say that Mr. and Mrs. Buyer can buy a house in $200,000 price range, whereas a pre-qualification letter, a pre-approval letter, will actually say these people are approved for a home in that price range. So the buyer consultation, information gathering for me, information sharing for the buyer. We'll talk the credit issues, we'll get all the needs and desires of what you need in your home. Once we do all that stuff and we have a pre-approval letter, the next thing I'll do is schedule showing of homes. Now, I try to show anywhere between 3 to 5 homes every time we go out. And the reason being, if I show you more than 5 homes, you're going to ask me, James, what about the home that had the pretty blue walls? And I'm going to be like, wow, which home was that? It gets confusing. And you as a buyer should go look at the home, rate the homes, eliminate the ones that you know you don't like, and compile your list of the ones that you do like. Once you find the house that you want, we come back to my office, and this is where we'll sit down and make an offer on the property. This is where we actually start writing contracts and start doing paperwork. At this particular point in time, you would also need to have an earnest money deposit. Earnest money says that you're sincere about buying this home. It says that you're going to do everything you can to get your mortgage done, and you're going to cooperate with the mortgage lender so that you can make sure that your loan is approved. We write your house up with your proper legal names. We write up price, we write up closing dates, we write up what conveys with the house. In other words, what comes with the house. Are they leaving their refrigerator? They're leaving their washer, dryer. We set closing date that works for you. And we also put a very important contingency in there, a home buyer's inspection contingency, which I'll talk about in a minute. Once we have put your offer together, we submit it to the other side of the table, and they will look it over. Everything that they agree with, they'll leave it in there. If it's something that the sellers do not agree with, they'll line it out, write in whatever it is that their counter is, and they'll send it back to us. The contract goes back and forth between the 2 parties until everybody's in total agreement with every term, every condition. At that point, you have actually bought a home, contingent upon your financing, and that house is no longer on the market. Now, the contingency that I mentioned to you about it was the property owner's inspection, home inspection. This is something that you will need to pay for up front. And I'm standing on my head screaming at the top of my lungs saying that you always want to get your house inspected by a home inspector. When we go through and look at the house, we're not going to be crawling under the crawl space or going up in the attic. We're not going to be checking the heating and the air conditioning and all the electrical outlets. That is what the home inspector's job is. Home inspections are usually a 2 to 3 hour affair depending upon the size of the house. It also will cost you anywhere between $300 and $400 on an average. And we would have to get that price once we find a home. So please just keep that in mind. That's as an average. The inspection is mandatory that you be there. The inspector will allow you to follow him around or her around. And sometimes they will ask you not to if they're getting ready to go into sensitive areas in the home. But at the end of that period, they will give you a written report on the material condition of that house. They're going to talk to you about anything that's wrong with the house. They're going to check your major systems of the house. Major systems being your heating, your air conditioning, your plumbing, your electrical work. They want to make sure those things are strong and working correctly. They're going to look at your foundation of your house. They may go up to the attic. Most inspectors don't walk on roofs anymore, but they will do a strong visual inspection either from a ladder or from the ground, depending upon how tall the building is. You will have the opportunity that if there is anything wrong, majorly wrong with the major systems in the house, we can reopen negotiations. We go back to the seller and say, hey, this is what our inspection found. We need you to address these issues. In most cases, I'm going to tell you to have the seller do the repairs, because the seller has three options. They can either do the repairs themselves, or they can give you the money to do the repairs, or they can tell you that, hey, we can't do these repairs, you have to buy the house as is. Whichever way it goes, you have the choice to go along with whichever situation they go along with, or we continue to negotiate until we come to an agreement. The reason why I'm always going to ask you to allow the sellers to do the repairs is because sometimes a repair will build into another repair, and you don't want to be the one to have to bear the costs. So, in summary, the process for this part of it is your buyer consultation, getting checked out by a mortgage lender so you can get a pre-approval letter, looking at properties, writing your offer with your earnest money deposit. That's real money. You got to have a real check that's going to be deposited once your contract is accepted. And then we write your offer, we negotiate your offer, and then you do the home inspection. And that is also money that you will need to pay for at the time of the inspection. So I'm trying to make sure that you understand how you got to have money and when you got to have money as well in this particular segment. All right, so that's the beginning of the process, starting with your buyer consultation, taking us through the property inspection. See you next time.